fancy little wireless microphone. So you tell me how's in camera. But the diet is officially over. Today's the last day, and then tomorrow kind of starts the refeed process. So let's, after having finished 30 minutes of seated bike cardio, or I guess you should, I guess the proper term would be recumbent bike. Let's see how we're looking. Unpumped, full body. Finally brought some shorts in. So this will serve as a pretty solid baseline to compare back to as this next bulking phase progresses. Because, you know, this is pretty much me flat, unpumped. This is baseline. This is what I really look like. So that's where I think that posing down in the morning, unpumped, after cardio is probably your best bet in terms of giving yourself like comparison photos or being able to compare, you know, where you are now to where you have been before. Just because, you know, if you're fully pumped, it's not really a proper representation of you, you know. It's just that's a good representation of how crazy you can look. But unpumped is the real fucking it's the real money shot to see how you're actually doing physique wise. So let's try to go through a couple classics here. Oh my goodness. Let's see. Classic abs and thighs. Oh my god. Dude, posing on its own is already fucking taxing. And then posing after fucking 30 minutes of cardio. Oh, I'm fucking breathing heavy. So, ending weight right now, of course I kind of drank some water already, but morning weight flat was 239.6. So this bulks, or I guess next video being this bulks, starting weight is 239.6 fucking pounds, which I am fucking, I don't know if I'd say ecstatic, but I'm pretty fucking happy about that, because that is a solid fucking, I mean, I feel like I'm kind of overexposed to actual like bodybuilding freaks. So I don't really, you know, I hear 240, I'm like, you know, that's pretty cool. But 240 lean and 240 flat, that's legit. So over the course of the next, you know, week and a half, I am going to gain probably 10-ish pounds, honestly probably a little more, maybe 10, 11 pounds, but that is not real weight per se. That is intramuscular carbs and water, because that's what happens when you go from dieting to bulking. That initial few week period of eating in excess, or at least around maintenance, touch higher, all you're doing is filling up all your fucking muscle glycogen, your intramuscular pretty much storage of water and sugar. And then once you're big and full and you're still continuing to eat in a surplus, that's when you'll start to make slow, steady gains. So I'm excited for this next week, because I'm literally just gonna get a fucking, oh my goodness. Honestly, just walking around flat, I'll literally feel how I feel now when I get a pump. Because I'm about to get 10 pounds of water and carbs, basically just fucking injected into every muscle fiber across my frame from my toes to my head. So that'll be exciting to see, but I'll keep you updated as the weight progresses. Let's cut to the car on the way to the gym for legs. Yeah, so I'm not joking when I say 10 pounds of just intramuscular water and carbs. And one thing that I kind of want you to take away from that is the fact that a lot of the times, no matter if you're a super kind of advanced, like bigger lifter or a smaller guy, your day by day weight fluctuations aren't an awesome indicator of your progress diet wise. Now, when I say diet, that could be a bulking diet or a fat loss deficit diet. But in either case, trying to look at and read the scale day to day to day. If you wake up, if you have extra good sleep one day, you may be a touch more light that morning because you fucking passed all the water through your system when you pee. Or if you had a massive meal right before you went to bed, then you're going to wake up and still kind of maybe have some food in your stomach. Or if you had more sodium one day than the other, then you're going to hold more water or lose more water. Like your day by day fluctuations of weight, it can vary. When I zoom in, because this whole bulk, I'm really good about it when I start a bulk and then I kind of phase it out. But I always track my weight and plug it into a Google spreadsheet. So day by day, when I zoom in on that graph, it looks like this. It's just going up and down. Like I can be 3 pounds heavier one day and 3 pounds lighter the next. But looking at that week to week projections, that's where I actually see linear fucking growth, So that's what I'm more so concerned with. And that's where if you start a diet, don't get immediately like freaked out if you do a week of a deficit and then you say to yourself, holy crap, I just dropped 10 pounds. Oh, I'm eating in way too steep of a deficit. Because there's an initial phase of dieting and an initial phase of bulking where the weight loss and the weight gain that you're experiencing are not real muscle and it's not fat. It's purely just, fucking water and sugar. Because your body basically runs off of carbs and fats for energy. That's kind of the two basic fuel sources, right? Protein, of course, has calories in it too, but you're really running off fats and carbs. So as soon as you start to restrict your calories, what happens is your fucking, your carb fuel all around your system gets used up first. Because it's really easy to break down carbs and energy. Fats takes a little bit more time. So the opposite of that would be once you start eating a lot of food from a deficit, all of your carb sort of storage in your body fills up. So that's an initial like 10 pounds of weight that you just gained, which isn't muscle. It's not muscle and it's not fat. It's just intramuscular glycogen, right? Like 1 part glucose to like 3 parts water or something like that, So once I've made that initial 10-pound jump and I'm back to just walking around full of food, then I'm going to go from a steep jump to an even growth. And I'm projecting about 1.5 pounds, 2 pounds of weight gain per week-ish. Probably around there. Any more than that, and I'd say you're probably not, effectively gaining weight. And you may just be putting on, excess fat. It's more common that people have a problem bulking up at all and not being able to eat enough food. But if you're one of the rare few who can slam calories like there's no tomorrow on a consistent basis, then you might actually have to ease back a little bit. Take your foot off the gas when it comes to your calorie intake, because if you eat too much too soon, it's not gonna be effective. All you're gonna do is kind of overflow your system and then start putting on extra body fat more than you need to. If you're gonna start doing a real bulk, body fat's, it's just a fucking part of the game. You're gonna have to deal with it. You're gonna be a little bit softer, but that's just the price of, consistent muscle gain. Now, of course, you can try main gaining. I think that's a perfectly fucking valid approach, especially for the beginner who is much more concerned about just getting training, knowledge, and experience under his belt. But after you've lifted for long enough and you've kind of plateaued your main gaining approach, I really do think that going into a kind of a bulking and cutting phase is a good next step towards continued gains. So This will be my last lift uncarbed up, and then the freak factor should begin to suddenly and rapidly increase. So plan for legs, same as normal, and this bulk especially, I'm really trying to prioritize a lot more pressing volume for quads. So I love leg extensions, of course, but there's going to be a lot more squatting volume, a lot more leg pressing volume for sure. And then hamstrings will be pretty much about the same as I've done them. You know, hamstring curls, laying, seated, as well as RDLs. So let's fast forward about an hour and a half, finish the lift, and head back home. It's only 4:15 right now. This is pretty early for me, but that's really only because this gym closes at 6 on the weekends. Rather fucking unfortunate, but what are you gonna do? So that just gives me all night to chill before chest and cardio in the morning tomorrow. But let's just get started on hamstrings now. Yeah, let's start with just a nasty, heavy set of lean curls with a different song. Oh my God. Oh. One more heavy one like that. And then let's do a lighter squeezing set. Oh yeah. Oh. Can't really give myself assistance on this machine. Whew. Okay. So that definitely kind of fulfilled the heavy, dirty sets aspect of things, where I just want to load my hamstrings with as much tension as I can. Now I'm going to drop the weight a pretty fucking substantial degree and do some slow squeezing single side stuff, you know? So those first few sets were the, you know, like fucking curling the 70-pound dumbbells. I'm wrecking my biceps in a good way, but it's different to grab the 30s, go slow, and really burn. And I think trying to balance between those two kinds of stimulus is a pretty good approach, you know? So if one day you're feeling extra strong, maybe try to do some more heavy shit. But if the next day you're feeling a little weaker, maybe do lighter squeezing stuff. As long as you're putting in effort, your sets will fucking accumulate into gains over time. And that's kind of just where you got to figure out what kind of training you like the most by going to the gym for a long time. But let's keep burning these out. 50 each leg, perfect. Okay. One more like that. Okay. Oh my God. Okay. Let's go do some Smith RDLs. So with these, what I'm most concerned about is just trying to feel my fucking hamstrings, you know, and it's tricky. As a beginner, as an earlier lifter, I didn't even like RDLs at all because all I would feel is my glutes and my lower back. So it kind of comes with some a prerequisite in a way of having good muscular like activation and connections. Because at this point, I can like manually flex my hamstrings, even just sitting here, not even doing a movement. I like fucking squeeze both cheeks together, my lats, my traps, my fucking bicep. Like I can just, you get a good gist for it. So from lifting for a long time, you can begin to manually contract your hamstrings, but not rely on your glutes and your lower back. Because I'm not using these RDLs as a posterior chain grower. I'm using them as a hamstring stimulator, if you follow my logic. But only 2 plates, reasonably light. This is enough where I can squeeze hard and kind of just well, burn out. Failure is a little bit ambiguous because my glutes are going to start helping at the end. So I really just have to call it when I know my hamstrings are tapped. Oh my God. Oh man. Okay. Woo. Yeah. I think hamstrings are fully cooked. Let's go get some leg extensions started. And we're going to be coming back here pretty soon for some fucking Smith squats. Whew. Very different fucking feeling. RDLs versus hamstring curls, which I think I've been sleeping on for a little bit too long. So I intend to make some serious leg gains in this bulking phase. Serious gains all around, but they're a top priority. So I have slowly but surely begun to change my fucking perspective on how I want to use how I want to use leg extensions from now on. Because historically, I've done heavy leg extensions, so heavy that I actually pull my upper quad, like not in a cool way. I mean, like a pull, like a little, like whoa, scary kind of way. So that's where I'm thinking, or where I think I like starting my leg extension or my leg days, my quad portion with leg extensions, you know, 2 hard, good sets. But they also serve the purpose of warming me up for my pressing later on. So these 2 sets of leg extensions are not, you know, absolutely as much weight as I can physically do for 10 reps. I'm easing back a little bit. So that's where I like kind of a little bit of an intensifier. So these sets are going to be like sort of my alternating approach. Not mine, but an alternating approach. 5 reps on one side, 5 on the other, 5 on one, 5 on the other, back and forth until I feel like I've pretty much had enough fucking damage. Then rest up. My quads are getting pumped, they're getting stimulated, they're getting fatigued. And then when I go do Smith machine squats in a minute, every fucking kind of ligament and every fancy pants tendon sort of thing in my quads is now warm from having done some serious work on the leg extension already. So even if you like starting your leg days off with squats, I would still recommend, as long as your knees like it, playing around on the leg extension first. Like even just sitting here lightweight, just moving them around, getting some tension, getting some blood in the area. Because I mean, I can say from my experience, squatting and any heavy pressing after leg extensions feels so much better. And if you've never tried pressing when you already have a bit of a quad pump, like for me, these squats are going to feel so fucking nice because my quads are already pretty much 100% fucking activated, a little bit swollen from these 2 sets. I mean, everything just feels fucking sweet. So that's my approach. So 2 sets here, then we can go on the leg extension or go on the Smith machine and take from there. And then if I want to do hack squats or leg press or whatever else next, I'll make that decision after the Smith squats. And this is fucking awesome that this leg extension has a belt built in. If your gym has this, you're fucking spoiled and you better enjoy it. Okay. Solid opener. Let's go a little heavier for the next one. Okay. Okay. Let's go do some Smith machine fucking squats. Ugh. Yeah. 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 Not bad. Let's drop it to 4 plates and fucking repeat. Okay. Oh my god. Okay. One more. Same weight. Oh my god. One more. Same weight. Holy shit. Ah. Come on. Come on. Come on. Ah. Oh. Oh. I need to catch my breath before we discuss. At this point, my quads are completely fucking destroyed. So I'm just gonna finish with a pump up set. So this will be really light, single leg alternating, just like we started with. 5 reps here, 5 here, back and forth, slow, squeeze, really try to burn. And then when I've had enough, stand up and do some like assisted sissy squats. And that'll be a perfect finisher. But after I pick a better song. Okay, come on. No need for a belt either. The weight's so light up, my body's not gonna come off the seat. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Let's go see how the pump ended up. I'm fucking dead. And the final leg day of the cut is complete. And this one feels, let's just say it feels like I'm in a deficit more than any fucking lift so far. Because this is a lot of fucking exertion. In a good way, of course, but still. So now I get to feel good that it's over. You know, of course, I like the process of leg training. I like the process of all the training. But it is fucking hard. So there is a bit of a satisfaction effect of having finished, you know. And those squats, those sets were not all to complete muscular failure. That last one was really good, but I was kind of feeling the, kind of susceptible to the numbers effect. And what I mean by that is like, I got the number 10 reps in my mind. So by the time I hit 10 reps, I felt like racking it. Whereas who knows, maybe if I got the number 12 in my head, I would have done 12 reps for every set. That's why I'm not such a massive fan of like aiming for 2 or 3 reps in reserve, because your body already has a fucking like anti-exertion effect where it's fighting you when you try to push it harder than it wants to go. So if that's already the case, I'd rather try to aim for complete muscular fucking failure and come short, because then I'm still in that fucking, you know, top set difficulty range. If I'm aiming for 3 reps in reserve or 2 reps in reserve, then that's the bar, that's my goal. And more than likely you're gonna undershoot it. And then you're gonna leave like actually 5 or 6, or if you're not training that hard, maybe even 10 reps in reserve. Dude, that sucks. So I say aim for failure. And if you don't get as close as you want, you still had a good set. But let's roll these guys up and see what we're looking like. I mean, that's pretty fucking wide in my opinion. That's why I want to get some more adductor work in, because it'll thicken up my inner leg and kind of reduce this gap so I can stand with a wider stance and they'll still touch right here in the middle. But certainly not fucking bad so far. And this being the starting point, now I can only fucking wait to see how they look peak bulk. Yeah. Oh man. So I think that's all I got. Let's get in the car and then talk about how this bulk's gonna fucking go. There is a certain amount of just overall content, satisfaction, and honestly, I'm talking like Buddhist level Zen that comes with sitting in your car on your phone for 30 minutes after a leg day. That's what I just finished. That was very nice. So now I get to go home and chill. And I say this is like the finale of the cut, but really, you could kind of say this is day one of the bulk. I'm not going to say it's day one. Tomorrow's actually day one. But I'm just going to kind of start eating at this point. And as much as you may think, like, oh crap, Sam's about to start bulking, that means he's going to have 5,000 calories today. Not exactly. Not exactly. And I'll explain why. I will explain why. So, historically, I have done that. That has been my approach in the past, because in my mind, I think, all right, I'm bulking. I got to eat in a crazy surplus, 5,000 calories. Let's hit this shit. Boom. And then I'm doing like 800 grams of carbs a day, day one of the bulk. And it's just not the best fucking move, you know? Like, clearly it worked. I'm definitely pretty big and I've made consistent gains over time, but I've been limiting myself, you know? And I'm not afraid to say it because I'm trying to learn and improve all the time, right? So I'm going to, if I don't look back a few years and think, man, I should have been doing this, this, and this, and then doing that now, then that means that my training and my diet and everything hasn't improved, you know? So this is the bulk which I think is going to be the most locked in by a few fucking degrees. And I'm super fucking excited about that. So rather than just immediately start chowing down on all sorts of sweets and treats and everything else, no, not exactly, right? I'm going to ease into it. So month one is essentially the fucking honeymoon period of this bulk, because it's going to be the most chill month, because I've been eating at 2,500 calories, just about. Like, sometimes I'll have a little high day. Like, I've had a few days this last week where I had 3,000, and then I had a few lower days when I had like 2,200. But just about 2,500 has been my baseline for the last few weeks. So I'm not going to immediately double that to 5,000. I now am under the impression that that's silly. So this first month, all I have to do is pretty much just eat when I'm hungry, you know? Because for me right now, with my appetite, to just eat enough throughout the day, like, all right, I'm kind of hungry, I'll just eat around here, that's going to put me at about 3,500 calories. Like, I think so far today I'm already at like 2,000. So I'm going to be eating about 3,500 for these first few weeks. And that is going to give me kind of a refeed. I'm going to start growing. And after, I'm guessing a month, but it may be less than that, I'm going to up it from that 3,500 to 4,000, because I will have basically gotten as much size and gains as I can from the 3,500. And then, right, now I got to up it, because I always want my diet to be stimulating. If I'm eating, like, if I started eating 3,500 calories, I would eventually plateau, because I would get used to that calorie intake. So if I want to keep the bulking, then I'm going to increase the calorie load as it progresses. And this worked so well for me on the last bulking phase. I think I only had like 4 months. Like, the last one was relatively short. It kind of got cut short because of the Arnold month. We were really going around, kind of traveling a lot. So that plus finals, I decided to cut that bulk a little bit short. But that last bulking period, I went from 230 to 260, and that was the easiest I've ever gotten to a new peak weight, because I eased into the calories over time. So that's the plan. Basically, just eat when I'm hungry, around 3,500 for those first few weeks, and then increase it slowly from there. Because if I immediately start eating 5,000, what's going to happen, and what has happened historically, is I get 3 months of really solid progress. Like 5,000 is a lot of food. It takes some time to get used to 5,000 fucking calories a day. But eventually I get to a point where I just can't keep it up. And me doing 5,000 a day, I'm no longer growing. All I'm doing is maintaining my size and strength. So it's hard to go up from 5,000, you know? And anybody that you know who has like said, like, dude, I used to eat 8,000 calories when I was bulking, 90% chance they're maybe not lying because they could just not be informed. But odds are, that older guy at your gym who said he used to eat 8,000 calories a day, he was probably not tracking everything correctly, you know. And I'm not going to say it's not true. I mean, there's guys who can eat fucking 10,000 calories a day on the regular. But for me, my appetite limits me at around that 5 to 6 mark. So I'm in no rush to get there. Right? I want to make use of 3,500 calories, grow as much as I can from that, and then increase the calories as necessary. So that's the calorie changing approach. And getting into the macros themselves, the primary driver of this growth is going to be increased carbs. Increased carbs. So immediately, I'm going to kind of limit the fat intake at about 150. The protein's going to be the same as normal, 250 grams, a pound per body weight, just about, or a gram per pound of body weight, just about. But then I'm not just going to start eating like fucking, 300 grams of fats every day. That's not going to do anything for me. That's not going to make me wake up full and carbed up the next day and energized. Really, I'm just going to feel fucking like heavy and sluggish, you know? So that's where over time, the macros that are going to increase is going to be the carbs. So month one, 3,500 calories. That should put me at about 250 grams of protein, 150 grams of fats. So that's 1,000 plus. That's about 300 grams of carbs or so. That's about the starting number. And then every couple weeks, I'm just going to increase that carb intake by about 100 grams. So that's an extra, I don't know how many grams of like cooked rice, or like that's an extra 2 packs of ramen, or, that's an extra 4 packs of instant oatmeal, but over time, I'm really going to be focusing on leveraging the carbs as the calorie intake, because that's going to kind of directly relate to my fucking fullness and, my pump. That's something I hear Jay Cutler talk about a lot, which I would love to talk to him about that. That would be a pretty cool discussion, because I mean, this is just from hearing the TikToks and like clips from him, but that's what I always hear is he's leveraging the carbs as his primary driver of weight gain. So in terms of the sources, I'm chilling out. I'm chilling out on sweets. There's going to be some donuts, of course. There's going to be some fucking, if I want a treat, I'm going to have it, right? I'm bulking. But the majority of the food here is going to be coming from lower glycemic index carb sources. And what I mean by that is carbs that aren't just going to immediately skyrocket my blood sugar, Not because I think, I'm going to grow better, but I'm going to be able to eat more for longer, because kind of the initial stress per se of having to deal with like multiple 100 grams of sugars at once every day, it's going to be tricky for me, because like I've done it previously, but it kind of makes my energy levels kind of wild. I want to get big for real. So I need to be able to eat a lot of food for the next like 6 months. And I'm trying to make sure that these meals are conducive to that. So I'm talking lots of fucking rice, be it like instant, like microwavable packs, or I'm definitely going to get the rice cooker going. I'm talking lots of instant oatmeal, or just, I guess just instant fucking oatmeal. I'm talking cream of wheat, potatoes. Like this would be the first bulk where I'm legit meal prepping. Not for every meal, but for a lot of them. And then the protein sources aren't going to change. I'm still going to, that's what I've been pretty much solid about. That's pretty basic of a step. The 250 grams of protein that I'm going to be eating every day are going to be from direct, solid, complete protein sources. So when I'm bulking, I don't count the carb, or I don't count the protein in like breads. I don't count the protein in like a pack of ramen, even though it does have caloric value. The 8 grams of protein from a pack of ramen those are not essential amino acids. That's only because proteins from like wheats and grains, they're not a complete protein. So I'm just not going to count it. That's how I go about it. So I'm going to count the 250 grams from steaks, eggs, chicken, fish, milk, dairy products, things like that. Things which I know are hitting every fucking array. And if I go over, if I have an extra 30 grams from indirect protein sources, that's fine by me. But I want to make sure that every gram is from a reasonable fucking source, which, in my opinion, is typically going to be from mainly animal products. You're not going to catch me going vegan over here. I lean a little bit more towards the Liver King side of things. And yeah, so that's the fats. Well, oh no, that's the carbs. That's the proteins. And then the fats will just kind of, honestly, fats just sort of fall into play. If I'm not eating really lean cuts of steak, like if a few of the steaks I have or some of the ground beef that I have throughout the day, or if I have eggs and I have a whole eggs, you kind of just get your fat intake pretty quickly. That's where it becomes kind of hard to watch your fat intake when you're dieting, because 3 grams of fat in everything that you eat every day, it adds up pretty fucking quick. So that's where I'm just going to be a little bit careful. I'm not going to go too overboard, because like I said, if I have a 5,000 calorie day of like 800 grams of carbs, this is late staged bulking right now, I'm going to wake up fucking completely full of carbs, feeling big, feeling strong, feeling energized, and I'm going to have a crazy lift. Now, if I had 5,000 calories and it's primarily from fucking fats, like if I had 500 grams of fat the day before, it's just not going to fucking be conducive to being full of carbs and pumped up. So that's where my head's at there. That's where my head's at there. And then in terms of meal timing and sizes, I'm going to try my damnedest to make these pretty consistent and evenly distributed throughout the day. So I'm talking like 600, 700 calorie meals evenly spread out. Because historically, I've done like a massive breakfast and then I didn't really eat anything for like 4 hours or 5 hours. And then I might have a big lunch, and then, you know, what's going to be better, right? Two crazy massive meals, or smaller, evenly kind of digested and spread out meals. So that's what I'm thinking. So by kind of improving all those aspects of this bulk specifically, I am very eager to see what kind of weight and muscle gain I can achieve. To the point where I'm feeling pretty fucking bullish when I estimate the 280 range, right? Like I'm not saying 280 with optimism. I'm saying 280 with excitement and enthusiasm. So I guess we'll just have to see. The proof will be in the pudding based on how these next few months go. But like I said, month one will be pretty chill. Just kind of when I'm hungry, eating, tracking everything, and then as I increase the calorie load, then I'm gonna really make sure that everything's getting nice and on point, which I think is gonna correlate to some freakier lifts and pumps as well. So I guess only time will tell. But come on, I don't think it's a question. There's gonna be some serious fucking size gain during this bulking phase, more than any ever done before. Well, at least by me. So play now, go home. Cardio will not be stopped. 30 minutes of daily cardio, moderate intensity, is going to be fucking mandatory. It's going to keep my metabolism going. It's going to keep me at a baseline leaner state so I don't get so fat in the bulk. And my energy and my kind of endurance during the workouts is going to be higher because my cardiovascular system is going to be working closer to full capacity. So if you're thinking about bulking, or if this is your fucking cue to start, because I'm talking like this bulk starts to fucking tomorrow, add cardio. Add cardio, and I know you won't regret it. Honestly, what you really will regret is looking back in 5 or 10 years and having not locked in. The difficulty of locking in far exceeds, at least in terms of like enjoyment, the regret of having to think like, oh man, I wonder what would happen if I fucking took it seriously that summer. Man, maybe I should have started that bulk when Sam started his. Fuck. And then that's just a never know situation. I would hate for that to happen to you. So the sooner you can lock it in, the better. But let's get this fucking bulk underway. I'll see you tomorrow for the first bulk, well, the first lift of the bulk, a chest day, a perfect fucking starter. So I'll see you then.